Hey there, it's Imran and you're watching Imran Plus. We are just days away from the 2022 Academy Awards, aka the Oscars. And this year has been a little interesting because most of the Best Picture nominees are films that a lot of people have never even heard of, let alone seen. And so that's why I decided to create a Best Picture nominee review series where I watched all 10 Best Picture nominated movies and reviewed them and shared my thoughts on each of their Oscars chances. You can check out my review to each of these movies in my Best Picture nominee playlist, which is linked right up here as well as in the description box below. I hope you'll check these reviews out and let me know what you think of each of these movies, and be sure to check out my Oscars prediction video, which will be dropping this weekend before the Oscars. Alright, before we get into the review, if you haven't already, make sure you also click that subscribe button so you don't miss any upcoming videos and so you can help this channel grow. Alright, let's get started. The Power of the Dog is a film based on Thomas Savage's 1967 novel and is currently playing on Netflix. After reading the novel in 2017, writer-director Jane Campion was so captivated by it that she moved to secure the film rights and eventually made the film that we're talking about right now. So what is The Power of the Dog about? Well, the story focuses on the dynamics on a ranch owned by two brothers, one simple but honest and the other cold and malicious. The latter is cruel and mocking when his brother brings home a new wife and her son to the ranch. I personally enjoyed this experience, and I think largely because of how the film ends, and the whole package was worth my time and I enjoyed it, but I don't know if this is necessarily for everyone or if everyone will enjoy it. I think some people might find it a little dull, but we'll talk about that later on. Before we talk about the details of the film, I do want to touch on the comments made by actor Sam Elliott about the film. I feel like a lot of people probably know more about this controversy rather than the film itself, but essentially Sam Elliott criticized this movie for not being a Western, due to it not being filmed in the American West, the gay subtext for one of the characters, the exploration of masculinity, and the fact that this is not the cowboys that he knows. And after having seen the film, I kind of have to agree with Jane Campion's response to Sam Elliott that he is an actor and not a cowboy. And this film is an exploration of the West and cowboys, but in a more subtle way than the typical Western film. And it is based on a Western novel by Thomas Savage, who is most famous for his Western novels that drew on his own early experiences in the American West. And so I think it's valid to not enjoy this movie, but I would argue that it still is a Western at the end of the day. And I wouldn't say that criticism on that aspect is fair, because the Western elements are actually depicted very well. As for this film not being filmed in the West, in the American West, and for being filmed in New Zealand, the film originally actually attempted to film in Montana where the movie takes place, but they were unable to due to budget concerns and constraints, among other reasons, and so Jane Campion decided to film in her home country of New Zealand. Now, despite not being filmed in the American West, I think the cinematographer, Ari Wegner, did a fantastic job actually of capturing the look and feel of it. The wide landscape shots and the numerous on-location establishing shots captured the beauty of the West, as well as its mysticism, mythos, its loneliness, and melancholy, which is often associated with the West. In general, I really love the coloring, the framing, and the lighting of the entire film, and I say that it's due to Ari Wegner's cinematography as well as Jane Campion's direction. Jane Campion is a true professional and approaches this film through an artistic lens. It's very well made. There is a fascination that you can feel through the camera as we explore the dynamics of the ranch. I really appreciated the structure of the film as well, with Roman numerals that sort of divide the film into chapters, which is reminiscent of the novel that it's based on. There's a foreboding tone and a building tension just beneath the surface, which is conveyed really well with the help of the jagged chapters that I mentioned just now, and the intersplicing of peaceful scenes on the ranch with tense scenes between the characters. She has a confident control over what she's showing us, which is a mark of a great director, and she does it well. But I feel like what she is showing us isn't always as captivating to the audience as it is to her. I think it's captivating to people who are interested in the material already. And that's why I feel like it may not connect with mainstream audiences. This film is best described as a Western psychological drama with more emphasis on the drama part than the psychological part. Not to say that this movie doesn't make you think or is not psychological. It is, it's just slow and purposeful. So the psychological aspects are more subtle and meticulous than, say, a psychological thriller, which would have you on the edge of your seat. So I wouldn't go in with that expectation, but I think the psychological aspects are well done and paid off in the end. The movie is full of subtext, a lot of subtext, and there's a lot going on with the characters just underneath the surface. So it's not that the script itself is psychological, even though it is, but I would say that's more so the acting and the directing that give it that tone and genre. The film is essentially a deconstruction of many things, including family dynamics, masculinity, and so it can be a bit dull and slow for someone who isn't interested in the subject matter. And there isn't a huge moment or scene that blows you away, but I will say that I think the payoff was pretty good and I felt satisfied at the end. So I think the story is compelling enough and the acting is really good that I thought it was worth my time. I would say that this film feels like a novel that you read as part of an English class that you wouldn't normally have picked up or been interested in before, but after reading it, you're surprised to find that you actually thought it was pretty interesting. And then the class discussions and the assignments that dissect the novel help you appreciate it more. And so you ultimately thought it was worth it. And at the heart of it, the film is exploring family dynamics and the ranch dynamics and the psyche of characters that live on a dysfunctional ranch. So let's talk about the characters themselves. Benedict Cumberbatch is great as always here. Actually, the more I thought about it and the more time that I spent away from the film after watching it, I really came to appreciate his performance because it took me a while to get adjusted to him in this role. But as the movie went on, his performance became increasingly more nuanced and intriguing. And so I really liked his performance actually. I think he deserves to be nominated. Now, Kirsten Dunst demonstrates here that she is truly an amazing actor that has not been given her due. And so I am very happy that she is nominated for this role. She delivers a really layered and captivating performance despite not having many lines, but plenty of scenes. So she is a big character. She's a supporting character. She really makes the most of every minute of screen time that she is given, which is sizable. And even though she isn't speaking all the time, she's acting every second, and it's really good. Jesse Plemons is also really good, but he's playing a simple guy, so he doesn't really have as much to do or work with as the other cast members, but he still delivers a great performance and a much needed one that others can play off of. Cody Smith-McPhee was really interesting in this film. I can see why he is nominated for his performance. His character is really fascinating. I would say that he did a great job as well. So let's talk about award chances. Starting with Best Picture. I think this film has a very strong chance to win. Even though I personally wouldn't give it Best Picture, I think there were other films that were stronger for me that I liked more. And I also didn't find the message or themes as strong as some of the other films. But that's just my perspective because I never have been that into Westerns. It's not one of my favorite genres, so that's probably why I didn't love it. But I think for someone who does love the genre, this is a really good film. My favorite parts of the film were actually the performances rather than the subtext. I will say though that this film has great cinematography, and so it could win Best Cinematography as well, even though I'm rooting for Dune and West Side Story in those categories. And Nightmare Alley is also really good, but I personally would have liked Dune or West Side Story to win there. Now, Best Director, Jane Campion is probably going to win Best Director for this. I think she has been winning Best Director at a lot of the other awards, Critics' Choice and BAFTA, so I think she has a really strong chance here as well. Personally, I think Spielberg deserves this award for West Side Story, but I would probably be okay with Campion winning it as well because she does a good job. Benedict Cumberbatch is nominated for Best Actor, but I don't think he will win, and I think that is going to Will Smith for sure. I think everyone that is nominated for Best Actor, sorry, great job, but this is Will Smith's award. Same thing for Kristen Dunst. She really deserves a win, I feel, and I'm really happy that she's nominated, but this category is really competitive, and I think for Best Supporting Actress, and I think it's going to go to Anjanou Ellis or Ariana DeBose. Now, I'm not sure. I think Cody Smith-McPhee and Jesse Plemons for Best Supporting Actor both have a decent chance, but I think this one may go to Troy Kotsur for Coda, as he has also been winning that award at Critics' Choice and BAFTA. Personally, I think a nomination is a win for both of them because I wasn't blown away by either of their performance, even though Cody Smith-McPhee is doing something really, really interesting and his character is really fascinating. So overall, I think this movie was pretty good if you enjoy Westerns or films that have a deconstructive nature. And if you're a fan of Benedict Cumberbatch or Kirsten Dunst, then you should definitely check this film out because they both give excellent performances. And I think it is right at home on Netflix. It's definitely a streaming movie, and if you're ever bored, then I think you should check this film out. It certainly wouldn't be a waste of your time, and I think you might find that you actually enjoy it more than you thought you would. So those are my thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a great time. Lots more videos coming soon, including my reviews for all the other Best Picture nominees and my Oscar predictions video. But in the meantime, make sure you like this video and subscribe. Click the bell icon so you don't miss any upcoming videos. And don't forget to share this video with your friends and fellow movie enthusiasts. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.